Welcome to another episode of DHG TV. It's the Insights show, and in this show I have Coach Dylan de Beer, which is affectionately known to many of the Duckhook players. Hello Coach, how are you?
Hey Maz, how's it going?
Thank you for joining us. It's going to be great to get your insights. What we're really talking about, and I want to put it right out there, that this is going to be a series of conversations, but in this episode we are going to kind of encapsulate everything that we'll be speaking about in this series, from the importance of coaching, the approach to coaching, how to think about implementing coaching in your daily golf goal, and so on. So Dylan, first of all, let's get right into it. From a coaching perspective, the importance of coaching for a golfer who wants to improve. Because many golfers, they'll just hack until they eventually have a good round, but that's not really what we're trying to achieve here.
No, well, I mean, it's not really just people that want to improve. I mean, obviously we're always trying to improve, not just in golf, I guess in everything we do in life, but, having a coach is sometimes there just for you to sort of get out of your own way. So the importance of a coach, I mean, obviously we're talking golf specific now. I guess it's to get you to try and realize your full potential. But it's so much more than that, and I guess, for us as golfers, we always got to look at the best players in the world, learn from them, what do they do? And I mean, those guys are not really going to now improve their swings or anything like that, but they have a coach with them day in, day out. Which then sort of stresses the underlying point that you're trying to make of the importance of having someone there, because often it's just about guidance or motivation or, just a little pat on the back, just reassurance of something that you're doing. So you can't really overstress how important it is.
And as you see, many professionals, they are as good as they are because they have a whole team, including a head coach or a psychologist, dietitian, fitness, and those are the guys who make it far.
Oh, absolutely right. And I guess, they do obviously have swing coaches and stuff like that, but all the top players will have sort of their one main guy. And as much as they have a fitness coach and a short game coach and a mental coach, the job of their main coach is, often as a mentor, is to sift through all that information and then deliver it to the player that he knows and say, this is what you need to focus on.
Fantastic. Now, let's go into your coaching approach and your philosophy when it comes to coaching.
Okay, well, let me start with my philosophy first, because that'll obviously then lead into, how I try to approach things. I guess I don't have a definite philosophy other than the fact that, golf is a very difficult game. I think we tend to make it quite complicated sometimes. And if you try and get into every little tiny thing, it can get complicated, but it's not really that. It's just a difficult game. It's a very small club head moving at high speeds over a vast distance. And it's just sometimes difficult to return that club how we want. So, my philosophy really is that I try and simplify things, and then I try and work or base what I do on physics. Physics doesn't lie. So we go, okay, well, how do we get the club as optimally as possible to do what we want it to do? And we just then kind of measure those things and do a bit of trial and error, stick to the, I'm kind of getting into the approach, I guess, now, but, my approach then is sort of to try and learn as much from my students as they're learning from me and figuring out, okay, what can this guy actually do? What can his body do? What can his brain do? And then sort of what I think he can do, and just slowly sort of marry those two expectations.
And I look forward to actually delving in that in future episodes of approach into coaching, because I'm sure there's many points that you can touch on here. So let's go to the third thing that I want to bring up, and that is implementing practice for someone like myself or anybody who wants to improve. You need to have the goal motivation to be a regular and practice properly.
Yeah, you've nailed it there, really. You've got to have a goal. But first of all, and I guess this kind of brings us back to the first question, Maz, is the importance of a coach. You've got to have a goal. Why are you doing something? Are you trying to improve a certain aspect of your ball striking? Do you think that this aspect you're working on is going to make you a better golfer? Is it going to lead to better scores? Or really, are you just trying to sort of polish, your? And I think this is, for some reason, and certainly a South African sort of trait, is we always kind of look at what's bad, and we have to improve our faults. And sometimes we neglect the fact that, hey, listen, actually I've got strengths in my game. Actually, I've got strengths in my body. And I need to develop my strengths as much as I need to work on my weaknesses. Because if you're always just working on weaknesses, then you're never actually developing an actual strength that you have. So it's, again, it's a broad topic. But I think, as you said in the beginning there, it's about having a specific goal. So you and your coach together decide, right, this is my goal. This is what I need to work on. And then you've got to work, I guess it brings back to the first show you had on the mental game, which was a fantastic episode. And you and your coach again together have to figure out, right, how do I focus my brain or focus my energy, okay, without getting distracted of all the hundreds of million things that are out there on YouTube or that I could improve. So you and your coach go, okay, cool, let's get nice and disciplined. Let's be focused, because focus and discipline are different things. Okay, and then your coach comes to the program and says, right, this is your thought pattern. This is what I need you to focus on. And it's actually, it sounds simple. It is such a difficult thing to do.
I want to know this is something like I would struggle with, and that is on the course thinking. So we've gone out, we've done the practice. Say, for instance, short game on the driver, and you're getting it right in practice, but then moving that forward and executing it on the golf course. What is a good tip to try and move your game forward that way, without, after you practice to try and get your driver right, and then on the first hole you've hit a terrible one, the second one not so good, and you start coming right, but now you haven't executed what you practiced. What have you got to say? I think there's many people like this. What have you got to say to them?
Maz, that is just a fantastic question. I'm actually just going to quickly backtrack there, because that'll actually be worked out in your practice. Okay, so part of your practice, maybe you decide, as you brought out there on the driver, so maybe you decide, okay, listen, I'm hitting the driver with too much sort of side spin, it's costing me. So you've been working on hitting the driver straighter, let's say, right? So you then, once you practice how to hit it straight, so you decide, okay, this is how I need to hit the driver straight. You practice that sort of new technique. Then probably the most important thing is to then actually practice executing that. So maybe you've learned, okay, it was my swing path or whatever it was that was causing me to hit the ball skew. So you work religiously on your swing path and you start to get it correct. Then the critical part then is to then, on the driving range, practice executing a straight drive. That means you stand there and you pick a target in the distance and you go, okay, there's my target. This is my start line. The ball must stay on there like a frozen rope, and you practice doing that. Okay. And what you do when you do that is not only are you building confidence, you're teaching your body to feel something. So, you've understood why you want to hit the ball or how to hit the ball straighter. You've then practiced that, telling yourself, right, swing path, swing from here, swing from there. And then your body will now sort of learn that and learn what it feels like. That's when you're ready to go take that on the golf course. You know what I'm saying? So then you stand on that first tee and you go, right, there's my target there in the distance. There's my line down the middle of the fairway. My body knows what to do. Okay? So from there on the golf course, you think about other things. You think about rhythm control. You think about alignment. Okay? You think about controlling your thoughts. You think about controlling your emotions. Okay? And the reason for that really is that all of those things have an effect on your body. There's a physiological effect on your body. And as soon as your body changes, that's when your swing changes, and that's when the result of the golf shot changes. So you got to learn how to practice executing. So you practice a new skill, then you practice executing, then you execute. It's a process that you have to follow. And I guess, again, going into episode 1, that's where the mental game comes in, because then you're talking about things like trust, confidence, again, focus, not being distracted when it's a poor shot or a poor result. Just going, no, I practiced this, I know what I'm doing, the next one will be good, and so on and so forth. That's the mental game, or a part of the mental game.
There are many Duckhook players out there that look forward to the league games. They practice hard. They want to win, but arriving on the day just hoping to have a good round and shooting the number. Let's say it is 40 points at this stage. It's a bit harder than that. Many courses need a breakdown. So let's go through like a quick breakdown on, say for instance, we're playing Jackal Creek. How to approach something even before you get there, not just saying today hopefully I got out of the right side of the bed and I'll play well, everything will come together. Just so that somebody can, like in a word or two thoughts, how can you take that forward to improve your tournament play?
Again, this is very much on the mental side of things, okay? And when people talk about the mental game, they tend to get stuck on the fact or stuck on things like confidence and fear and overcoming that and sort of not getting angry and that. And certainly that's part of it, but the mental game is so much bigger than that. So a lot of it comes down to understanding, okay? So, I mean, Duckhook is a very sort of specific tournament, okay? It's a very, it's a lot of golf tournaments are 72 holes or 54 holes medal. We have one sort of medal round every sort of 3 months or so, and then it's Stapleford. It's also 18 holes. Okay, so what that means for you as a player is that on that particular day, and even more importantly on that particular golf course, it might not suit you. You might be a fader of the ball and you rock up, let's say for argument's sake, at Jackal Creek. Jackal Creek definitely prefers or rewards a drawer of the golf ball more than a fader of the golf ball. So you rock up at Jackal Creek, it's not your day. Your chances of winning that golf tournament are a lot less. Okay, now that doesn't mean you don't go there to win, all right, but you understand the challenges behind that. Okay, and then you do stuff like like Donnie does. I mean, Donnie's obviously unbelievable golfer, but he doesn't win every week. But he is intelligent enough, and he knows his game enough, and he knows himself enough to go, right, this is my game, this is how I play, this is where I aim, this is the shot I hit, and at the end of the day, I add up my score, and hopefully I've beaten everybody. But if I haven't, I've come close enough, I've learnt enough, okay, and I've also accrued enough points that, when I do have my day, all right, that overall and over the course of a season and over the course of a career, I'll be the best golfer. And at the moment, certainly, since I've been involved, he's the best golfer because he is the most consistent. He wins when he gets hot, okay, and he never changes his sort of the way he approaches a tournament or a round or anything like that, or a conversation before the round, after the round. He's the same guy, he's the same mentality, he's the same emotional state, and a credit to him. I can't sort of sing his praises enough, and he's the kind of guy that the Duckhook guys can really look at and learn from.
And I think the key word there for everybody watching is consistency. I think a lot of us would give an arm and a leg just to be consistent with going out most rounds that you play, shooting around your handicap and not having these big 10-shot swings. I know me and many other people have their streaks. It's actually interesting to watch it on the tour as we go, where you see the players 3 or 4 rounds, they really play well and they get better and better, and then suddenly they drop off and they cannot get back to the form they use. I suppose that's the beauty of golf, but consistency is a key, which Donnie really has. That's why he's featuring in just about every top 10 leaderboard. So finally, let's move on to the last question I want to ask you, and that is, now analyzing and assessing a round of golf to now improve. Again, it's a mental thing. So and then taking that into post-practice, so you can highlight that, and that is something I look forward to diving into more detail at a later stage.
Well, I mean, look, it's again another mental attribute, I would say, that is overlooked, and it does tie in again with our conversation today about me coming from a sort of coaching, I guess, player coach perspective, but it's again, I would suggest either doing it with somebody or doing it sort of, on an app, or doing it hopefully, with a coach, right? Because the chances of you being objective are quite slim, all right? we tend to again look at our bad shots. So even my students, they will come through and go, okay, cool. I played well. I shot 75, but there were 2-3 putts, and I didn't get up and down out of the bunker twice, and so on and so forth. And actually, you learn very little from that. You got to look at what distance are you three putting from? What is the state of the bunker? Where was the flag in the bunker that you hit it? So, was the poor shot hitting it in that bunker in the first place? And so on and so forth. And then again, most importantly, learn from your good shots. So you go, okay, let me look at my 3-pointers. All right. So for a low handicap golfer, the birdies that you made, or for your handicap golfer, your pars you made and your stroke holes. And go, hold on a second, right? Let me look at those. What did I do well on those holes that allowed me to score the 3 points? Was it making 2 quality swings in a row, which made an easy par? Okay. Or did I hold a putt? Or did I hit an exceptional short game shot? Okay. And then look for the regularities in that. So go, okay, well, 70% of the time that I hit the fairway, I ended up making a 3-pointer. Then you go, okay, cool. It is imperative for me to hit fairways. Okay. Or you look at it and go, all right, every time I had less than 150 meters to the green, I made a 3-pointer. All right. Then you look at it and go, okay, yeah, maybe it is a tight hole, but take the risk of the driver to get yourself within your scoring zone. And so on and so forth. So you can't just sort of look at bad stuff and these random sort of blanket statistics. They don't mean anything. As you said there, you got to look at every round of golf. Okay, it doesn't take long, and the more you do it, you get better at it. I tend to do it literally on my way home from a round. So if I'm at a Duckhook round and I'm on my way back to teaching, in the car, I'm busy driving and I'm going, okay, cool. All right, the driver did this, the putter was excellent, whatever the case may be, I know exactly what to work on for the next round. And you eventually get that sort of good at it. And when you do, your awareness on the course improves tremendously. So by hole 4, oh, hold on a second, yeah, I've let things get away. Let me reel back in, play to my strengths again. And that's when you sort of really get that consistency that we're talking about.
Thank you for your time and your insights. I look forward to speaking to you again. There's a lot to learn in golf, and like we've mentioned many times, it's very much mental, and we're going to get our mental thinking right, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to make it better. So until the next time, thank you very much, and I would like to thank everybody for watching. Just remember, Coach Dylan de Beer from Jackal Creek Academy is part of the Duckhook setup. So if you need coaching, he's the man to go to. There's been many guys who go there and praise him like crazy. So well done to that, Dylan. And I look forward to seeing more of your students on the winners podium.
Well, thank you, and thanks for the opportunity. And obviously just love working with you guys. It's been the absolute highlight of my last sort of couple of years. So a big thanks to you and to Fats, and just loving Duckhook.